It's the All Birdies No Bogeys podcast, your weekly disc golf analysis podcast right here on JomezPro. I'm your host, Brian Earhart. Nate Perkins joins me in the flesh yet again here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Just about 35 minutes with no traffic north of Rock Hill, South Carolina, where we just finished up a phenomenal U.S. championship and Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship. Yep. We were both there on the ground. Yep. You were actually working. I was kind of working. I was canning interviews of people not on the lead card. Yeah. You followed the best players all week. Yeah. Let's decompress. We just got home after the drive up.
Yep. Got some Chipotle. Very thankful for that. I'm thankful for my sparkling water. And Brian's wife, Lindsay, made me peppermint tea. And I'm just grateful to be here, man. It's really great hanging out with you and playing some Elden Ring and getting down to Rock Hill. You know, this has been Charlotte in general, this whole area has been a magnetic place for disc golf for some time now. I first came here 2016, and Jeremy Colling invited me over to his house, and Paul Ulubari and Jeremy Colling are giving me putting lessons in the backyard before I try to go Monday qualify for USDGC. And I'm kind of getting the history from them. And Jeremy had just won the tournament the previous year. And I'm getting the history lesson, and just, they're talking about the prestige, and they're just talking this tournament up like it's the best thing in the world. And it kind of delivered, you know, and it's been delivering for years. You even said yourself that this tournament was probably the one that you watched the most on YouTube. You feel like that's true?
Yeah, of course. I remember me and my buddy Roman, who was kind of an early mentor for me, took me to a lot of my first tournaments and drove me around when I was still kind of young and getting my feet wet in the community. And he would take us to his office conference room after hours, and we'd pull the big conference screen down and pull up the coverage. We'd order pizza, and I would just dream about going there one day. It felt like every hole, because every hole is very simple to understand. JP was talking about it in the presser. I very quickly was able to imagine myself there. Like, 17 doesn't look hard. Hole 7 looks like a free throw. I got that. No problem. And you see that with people on the ground too. They let them actually go there and play the holes. The fans can play the course after the players leave. I actually love that. But your imagination just runs wild here. And again, for me, I said it during the live show with AJ and you, you walk around and just see history everywhere. There's cracked concrete tee pads pointing to nowhere. And you just wonder what happened there. What shots were thrown from those tee pads? There was one right next to the interview booth, and I couldn't understand what it possibly could have been pointed at. I think it's the coolest thing in the world. But yeah, I absolutely love this tournament for that exact reason. And again, one last time, just remember a group of Frisbee golfers in the 90s pitching this idea at the time to a college and say, hey, can we get a tournament on this campus? And for them to say yes is a triumph for disc golf. They actually got real infrastructure to run a tournament. And I think in the future, we talked about places like the Whitewater Center here in Charlotte or other massive wildlife centers. Accepting us in the future and designing these next level facilities, that's the next step in our sports trajectory. It started with a place like this. So
it's a great point, Brian. And you know, I think for you guys listening out there, the direction that Brian and I are going to take this, we're going to continue the big picture discussion a little bit later, and we're going to jump right into some golf, because this week, this tournament always delivers the tension, the excitement, because the OB's everywhere. The margins for error are tiny. But this week in particular, Brian, the wind, I felt like was dialed up perfectly, right? That they didn't get to practice it. So they weren't masters of the wind direction. It was out of the northeast every single day. And it was consistently, for FPO, which we'll start with, it was consistently 10 to 25 miles per hour. It was probably one of the more challenging mental tests for FPO, probably top 5 since I've been on the tour. So in the last 10 years, this was probably one of the top 5 hardest tournaments to come out on top. And that's because of the tight OB, because of the course layout, but mainly because of the wind and how tough it really was out there.
I feel like this course makes you golf more than any other course out there. It's constant tension. Every single shot that you throw, there's almost never a time where you feel like you're just safe. I mean, maybe
Mhm.
hole one, but there's still a staggered Mando
No,
you
it's
have to worry about.
the
Low
Mando
ceiling.
people. Holland Hanley tripled it
Mhm.
to start her tournament. Like, she missed the mandatory straight
Yeah.
up early left, and so many players do. And you nailed it. It's because there's not really a moment you can take off. You don't have a shot where you're like, okay, this is a gimme, or this is a must get, or I can just throw the hyzer out there. Each shot takes a ton of focus, and that's why it's so impressive what FPO did this week. And Holland started. She doubled the first one, doubled the second, and I think tripled the third. So
Mhm.
she was, what is that, 7 over through 3, and she was out of it early, never came back. One person I do want to key in on early is Annalie. I think she was one of the big stories of the week. The Estonian with the pink hair. I first met her 2018 at an event over in her home country, and honestly, for a long time, she wasn't a relevant disc golfer when it comes to competing for the win.
Mhm.
This was a career moment for her to not just flash up, but to maintain for 3 rounds the way that she did. She was beating Silva and Missy Ganon heading into the final round of this tournament. And regardless how it unfolded during this final round, I was so impressed with her confidence, with her shot shaping into the wind. I honestly didn't know that Annalie could crack a disc out over the 400-foot mark. Hole 3, amazing example, 4 for 4 on that tee shot on hole 3. She's throwing it well over 400 feet. If you are watching on YouTube, Annalie is throwing a beautiful shape into the tailwind on 16 right now. What did you take away from your time talking to Annalie, how she was kind of handling herself in the interviews, and what you saw on the course?
Yeah, I feel like there's two schools of thought, and I feel like I get it from different players. So on one side, you have someone like Ricky, where when you talk to him, it's intensity. He like is talking fast. He's like, I'm ready for the next thing.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a lot of emotions, but I'm just gonna go, 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 go. They're always quick interviews. Yeah, it's you could feel the energy left over from the round in
Mm-hmm.
Ricky when you interview him. But someone like Annalie on the other side is so mature in the way she sees the game, and not necessarily the same intensity as someone like a Ricky Wysocki
Mm-hmm.
or even like a Missy Gannon. She comes off the course, first round, I interview her, I say, nice round. She says, yeah, I actually wasn't even thinking about the wind. And I
Really?
just played disc golf. And then the next day, interviewed her again, and she said, yeah, it was a little bit windier. I threw the
Mm.
same stuff. I just stabled up a little bit.
Wow.
It was just a very simple, carefree headspace. And I think at a course like this, if you can somehow tap into that, that's a special thing, because my experience playing here, and I've actually had some decent rounds out here at this course. I feel like as a lefty, I've done decently well at this tournament. Not perfect, but I was always stressed out.
Stressful.
And I couldn't tap into that. Maybe 2 or 3 rounds did I feel like it was easy out there.
Yeah.
And the whole week, it was just like, oh, yeah,
Wow.
here's the shot, make the shot.
That
Here's the
translated.
decision, make the decision. And
Yeah.
I got a very calm energy from her, and it was wonderful. And it obviously translated in the way she played the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and that's it translated in the body language, right? That's surprising that someone who doesn't have that much experience playing on those like lead cards
Mm-hmm.
in those big moments was able to find that mindset. She was impressive on the putting green, as she was in the distance category as well. She made several C2 looks with. She made one on hole 2. I think it was round 3. It was windy. She had a strong tailwind. She had gone OB. She had missed a putt on 1, and it felt like it was already slipping away from her, and she makes the par save on hole 2, and it was beautiful, and it didn't surprise her that much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you kind of see the pages turning, like, I don't need to be shocked that I'm performing, like this is maybe where I belong. And the one thing I want to close with Annalie was what I noticed during this final round. And this is, for me, the biggest difference between someone that believes they are a champion or they want to be a champion one day and someone that already knows that they're a champion. Like if you want to compare to someone like Missy Ganon, today Annalie was very cautious. Rounds 1, 2, and 3, Annalie was not playing with caution. As you said, she wasn't thinking much. She was playing very conservative, and it was working for her because no one was playing that hot, and it was working and just working. I think she had 1 birdie through 10 holes there. Didn't take her first bogey till 11. But the conservative play continued throughout the rest of the round, Brian. And for me, I was disappointed to see that because she had been playing so well when she was playing aggressive. So it really hurt me as a fan to see her continue that caution all the way to the end, to the point where she had a chance on hole 17 to run a birdie putt to get herself within, I believe it would have gotten her within 3.
2.
Would it have gotten her within 2?
It was a carefree birdie putt. And the separation between her and the next person was massive. There was no chance she was going to dip below where she was. I know exactly what you're going to say. She laid it up, and I know you came off the green, and I'm standing there. I know you were upset, and especially after what happened at the World Championships this year, where there was a miscalculation on the green. The fans were miscalculating. The caddies were, the players were. And then we see this conservative play. And if you're thinking that the player did it on purpose, then you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But in that moment, Annalie's not been in this position before to win a tournament like this. And the words I said to you, and I'll let you give your perspective, but I said, if she had done this on purpose, that's just bizarre behavior.
Yeah.
Like, if you just looked at the scores for a second, you'd go, oh, yeah, I got nothing to lose. I'll lose this putter. I don't care.
Let's do this.
I'm going to jam this for some glory and put Missy Gannon in a tough spot. She goes OB. I stick my drive in the fairway at 18. What's to say she doesn't go OB again? I force a playoff and win this tournament.
Yeah.
But she lays it up, and I guarantee you, and maybe we'll talk to her in the future about this.
We should find out.
Yeah. My thought is, you are so used to giving this course so much respect, so much like, please, just no more danger, no more stress. I'm so sick of it. She might have just still been in that mindset and just done it. You know?
No, that's you're giving her the benefit of the doubt there, and you make a great point because we don't know.
What's the other side?
We don't know if she knew, which is also kind of a disappointment, right? Because you're a professional disc golfer. You should be able to look at the scores in those moments and figure it out. But yeah, I was sad to see her lay it up. I think the fans were confused. They were looking at each other. I saw people checking the scores. Charlie on the Disc Golf Network was in shock. He was confused. He didn't understand it. It's a lesson either way. It's a lesson she'll have to process and hopefully learn from. Regardless, I was impressed with her play. It was great to see a new player. It's kind of ironic that it's an Estonian. We don't have Kristen.
I know.
Obviously, we're never going to replace her, but give me some more Europeans that are coming here and pushing. Missy and Holland and Silva. Give me some more athletes to push. So I was happy to see it. And cheers to you, Annalie, and to Estonia. Well done. Great tournament. Sophia Donica popping up there, getting 4th. Silva Saarinen obviously was one of the players to beat this week. Just lethal again. Her win reads, man, they're so lethal.
Well, they have to be. They have to be lethal wind reads with how flippy her stuff is.
She's throwing flippy. She threw this standstill shot today on hole 5 from. She's like over 300 feet to cross the water, which isn't that far, but she stands still, lining up. It's like ripping right to left tail. It's like pushing toward the lake. She's throwing a standstill and just like turns it into the wind perfectly. It's genius level wind calculation. And Silva's so good at getting her shots flat. Talk about it, Brian.
Well, yeah, just in general, this is the shot that she threw today on hole 5. to the green. I know exactly the shot that you're talking about. This one, she took an approach, gorgeous shape, but in general, she has the respect from the entire division as the standstill queen. And she was coming up the fairway of 18, and I'm standing up by the scoring tent, and you can stand on these rocks where the staff only sign is, and see the green. And Ella and Holland are standing next to me on top of one of these rocks, and both of them are like, "Oh yeah, of course she's going standstill from the middle of this fairway. She's the standstill queen. She's the goddess." Like, her timing on it all is amazing. And frankly, I want to know her Tectus numbers, standstill versus approach. There might be a negligible difference. And yeah, this beautiful putt here on 11. But I'm not surprised anymore, Nate.
That is filthy.
I just don't care. Like, watching her putt like this, it's standard. This is disgusting. 14 uphill. She's at the edge of the circle. That was from the hazard, right?
It's one of those putts that I was calling that one. You know, I'm on the ground. I don't get to call a lot of shots live, but every now and then they send it down to me, and I had the honor of calling this green, and they asked me what wind direction she has, what's it like. I'm standing probably 100 feet back from the basket, and to me, I use the language unmakeable, because the wind is probably blowing 18 miles per hour, and you have to putt the disc nose up. You almost have to put it below the basket. But what Silva chose to do here was get it up in the air early. She pops it with the fingertips on the bottom, and she actually gets the disc up in the air. It's not so nose up. It's like the Rick
It's
putt.
like flat.
Yeah, she gets it up in the air, and she drives it home into the wind. And this is the type of wind calculation that you really can't teach. It's the type of release that players like Ganon and Calvin, Ricky, Kevin Jones, like there's a certain like movement where you pop the fingers up and turn your wrist down like that. And Silva has that special release to be able to get the disc up in the air and driving it home into the uphill, into the headwind. And it was one of the better moments of the day, and it kept her in the game because Missy was parked for a birdie. So that was an incredible moment. And it wasn't until she put over the top of the basket on 16 into that crosswind that her story was kind of over. So so impressed with Silva. Amazing that Silva and Missy are both player of the year, like contenders, and they were the ones battling here. I don't feel like the door is totally closed. I think if Silva wins the tour championship, that they're almost neck and neck. What do you think?
Wow. Well, couple things. Tour championship has stroke advantages.
Does it?
Yeah. And that to me instantly puts it below Throw Pink.
Okay.
That's a heads up 4-round tournament at Winthrop. And in Virginia, these courses are hard. Ivy Hill, insanely tough, long, grueling. And then New London, apparently the new layout is supposed to be fantastic. I heard from a few people that
Nate Heinold said it's the best course in the world now.
Well, that good for him. That's good for him. I'll believe it when I see it. But the property is set up for it. I heard a lot of FPO players not happy with the previous iteration of that course. Well, hopefully he's right. Hopefully the FPO layout's fantastic. Hopefully he took some feedback. But if she wins Tour Championship, it'll be great. Still don't think she wins it.
So you think Missy's locked it up?
Yeah, the quality of the tournaments that she won this year completely locks it up. It's over in my eyes.
It's hard to, make a strong counter to that because of her performance in the playoffs. And I agree with you on the point about the Tour Championship. I think it's a sound argument, even though it's the biggest payout.
It's a big deal.
It's the biggest payout. It's a big deal. I think you're right that this tournament is a little bit more of a fair head-to-head challenge, and it's one of the more challenging tournaments to win, especially with the conditions this week. So, Missy Ganon, our champion. We lost Kristen, but we have one of the more iconic female athletes in the world playing disc golf.
She's just smooth, not even just as a player. just
She's
as a human
incredible.
being.
She's a ball of sunshine.
I'm interviewing her one of the days. I think it was the day she shot the 10. I think this is the same zip up that she's wearing. And I was like, what brand is that? She goes, oh, it's like this fancy brand. I kind of felt bad stamping Discraft on it, but whatever. I'm going to wear it. Like she's just, she knows she's good. She knows that she's a big time pro athlete now.
Yeah.
And she's kind of leading the charge in the division right now. And when it comes to being a pro athlete, we were talking about kind of being the full package, the entertainer, the storyteller,
Mhm.
the competitor. She embodies all of that. She's wearing her money earrings during the final day today.
Oh my
Just
goodness.
reflect on what you got from her in the interview that you did afterwards.
Yeah, it's an honor to share those moments with Missy's a friend. I was there with Missy when she didn't have any money. We ran a tournament in Wisconsin once, and we literally gave Missy all the money because she didn't have any, and her and Tom were like, I don't know if we're going to go to the next tournament, and to see the woman and the athlete that she's become, it's an inspiration, and I'm just it's so easy to be happy for her and Tom, and to get to share the moments with them on the green. It's so special. Today was a really fun one after Missy took the title because I brought Tom onto the green, and Missy was dropped immediately into like the gratitude she has for her position, and she always has that perspective of I know that I'm fortunate. I'm playing disc golf for a living, and the way that people treat her, she says she's referenced all the fans coming up to her and the way they interact with her, and it's sincere. You really can tell that she connects with them, and she feels the love that she receives, and she's able to give it back, and that's so beautiful. And I asked Tom about the win reads they were making, and he gave a classic caddy answer. Yeah, I was right there with her. I saw the dollar bills in her as her earrings, and I turned to the crowd and I'm like, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this woman has dollar bills as earrings, and she just won 15 grand. And like, it was so fun. It was so fun. It's the best part of that role with the Disc Golf Network, and it's just it's a celebration of an athlete that we all love. So it just there's so much energy there. Everyone's like clapping and just like wow. And PDJ people are coming up to me and saying like great interview, like
Mm-hmm.
that's, and the tournament director is coming up and saying wow, it means so much,
Mm-hmm.
the way that you guys treated that. And yeah, it's great, man. Disc golf is so beautiful, and it's fun to really feel all of that.
Well, and we'll get into why, because the environment here is unmatched. I mean, even compared to the World Championships that we were at, it's a completely different experience here. But Missy uh, won this tournament in my opinion, a classic Missy fashion. Never ending
Mhm.
perseverance, never ending
Mhm.
focus.
Yeah,
E-
4 over round 2.
exactly. But I say never ending focus, but she had a bad round. She tied 12-year-old Ava Lutsenko, who I interviewed twice.
Wow.
She's going to win a massive tournament very soon, maybe within the
Wow.
next 4
You
years.
think so?
Yeah.
Cool.
If she again, when I coach juniors players, the first thing I say is if you're in love with the game, the rest will fall into place for you. Those teenage years are very confusing.
Mhm.
If she just continues to stay in love with disc golf, she's going to win one extremely soon. But she tied Missy Ganon
Wow.
at that +4 number, and then Missy goes ballistic the next day. So again, you watched her all week.
Yeah.
Tell us the story of her performance throughout these 4 rounds.
Well, fire round 1, played super clean. It's just she was the player to beat. She right out of the gate made a nasty tailwind, like 33-footer on hole 1 to start the defense of her title, making putts like this on 7 from short of the Mando. Here she missed this shot 3 times. She came up short on this shot on the 10th. It cost her, but the way that she bounces back from big mistakes, it continues to be one of the more impressive aspects of her game. The wind calculations on the putting green are absolutely insane. Here, she threw zone SS straight day 1, went OB. Her and Tom make the correction. She goes over stable zone the next 3 rounds and was right outside the bullseye all 3 days. what we saw from Missy this week, though, Brian, we saw the 4-over round 2, and then the single best streak of her career.
Mm-hmm.
She birdied 10 holes in a row.
Tough holes.
10 holes in a row. I think she bogeyed hole 5, and then she
6 through 15.
She bogeys hole 5, and then she gets the next 10.
Mm-hmm.
That 6 through 15, and I can't overstate how hard holes 9, 10, 11, and 12 were playing. The northeast wind for all of those holes is terrible. 10, 11, and 12, it's like pure headwind.
Mm-hmm.
It was so hard to even sniff hole 11. That hole that's like the snake hazard hole, it's really hard. The landing zone for the FPO, it's 350 away from the sloped green. So you're having to throw this big shot into a ripping headwind with the hill that you're trying to land on top of, but not flat because that's hazard. You have to like scoot down the hill and land on a side slope. It's a near impossible birdie in that wind, and it was part of her 10 birdie streak. I was actually on the lead card that day, and I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to go witness greatness. I peeled off and I watched her, I watched her play 13 through 18,
Mm-hmm.
and we got to talk to her, and she was like, "That's my best streak ever." And she's like, "I'm not even a streaky player. Like, I never get that hot." She was jazzed up about that. It was her second highest rated round of her career, 1042, behind only the 10 under par that she shot at Cascade this challenge, where she also went lights out. So it was a career moment for Missy, and she got herself back in the tournament. She was only one back going into the final day, and she's just so hard to beat. So confident. Her mistakes are small, and she brought it home day 4.
I still am blown away at the separation this week in the FPO division.
Yeah. Paige was on lead card, like 10 back of second.
She was 10 back of second place.
That's crazy.
12, 12, 13 for the 3 players in contention, 2 down for 4th place, Paige Pierce. It's weird how 3 players can break away at the exact same pace going into the final day of competition, and nobody else finds that same wavelength.
It's true.
It's a mystery in disc golf. I find it super fascinating, but final day, the lead changed like 3 or 4 times.
I think it changed every hole or something. Yeah. You're right. I think the lead might have just changed that many times. They didn't score the same on any hole. For like, they had a different score every moment. It was wild, and it was slow. It was slow out there because, man, each moment they're taking their full routine.
Saw that.
And they are really, it was tense. Like, they're really going through it. And it's not to dog on them. It's just to kind of highlight, just as you said, how stressful that place really is, how hard it is to, if you don't go through your routine and you don't draw in that focus for every shot, it's going to slip away and you're going to miss.
Here's the thing. I understand why in these conditions a player is going to take their full 30 seconds.
Yeah.
The difference between 12 miles an hour and 30, insane.
Yeah.
Completely insane. 12 miles an hour, you just throw a little bit more stable disc or you change the angle a tiny bit. 30, it's a completely different universe. And your decision starts to change. Your spots that you pick start to change. Your desire to get a birdie starts to change. So these players, a lot of times, are just waiting for the wind to give them some sort of break. And I completely get it. It makes for some pretty annoying tournament golf because you get a lot of players that are like, all right, sorry, I'm playing for thousands of dollars. I'm not going to go until I get the advantage. I'm not going to throw when it's at its strongest.
I saw Silva doing that, and it was smart. It was smart. It's just, it shows experience, patience. I love to see it. I never felt like she was really pushing the 30 seconds in the way that she would step up to a putt, and she wouldn't even really go through a routine yet. She was just waiting for that lull. And they should do that. They should be smart about that.
Of course.
I think it's silly when you get right into it and when there's a middle of a gust, because today, unlike the other 3 days, it was like swirling and gusting. And so there was a lull, and there was 25 to 30 strong in a new direction. So it was dynamic out there today, and it wasn't over until Silva putted over the basket. And even then, Missy missed the island, and Silva had an opportunity to put it on there, and she also missed the island on 17. So came down to 17 as it always does. And it was a great show.
Really was, man.
Yeah.
Across the board, great
Yep.
show. I did some great interviews this week. I talked to a lot of really awesome people that were just so happy to be here, and you can feel the prestige building for this tournament year after year. I think you said this is year 5.
Yeah, they had U.S. Women's Nationals.
That's the
in
confusing part about it.
2020.
Yeah.
And then 21 to 25 this is the 5th throw pink, and it's a major as far as we're concerned. It's a whole nuanced topic to unpack. PGA doesn't even know why it's not. It will be one day, and we'll figure out the best way to put that M next to this tournament. But it's a major as far as everyone's concerned, as far as the professionalism, the payout, Missy said that even the bonuses are matched. So it's a great tournament for FPO, and we can put a bow on it because they crushed it, man. And we had a quicker lunch break today because they had to move the times up because the impending doom of the storm that never came.
Yeah,
it never came.
It's embarrassing because after round 2, someone's like, "Did you hear about the storm cell that popped up?
They're going to cancel Sunday."
Yeah, people were telling me that they were going to cansel on Sunday. So I was doing interviews tournament. Like, tomorrow there's a chance for a big storm cell to pop up. Sunday, it looks like it's almost certain. And Seth Munsey messages the Disc Golf Pro Tour, like our message board, and he goes, "I heard in Brian's interviews today that there was a big storm cell that popped up. I'm not seeing that." And I'm like, I checked the forecast, and then like 8 different people were talking about
that's so funny
Sunday getting canceled. My bad. That's on me.
That's all good.
But you know what? It's okay to ask the players how they play the tournament in rain.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Totally.
But yes, we put a bow on it. Congratulations again to Missy. Nate, I'm just going to leave us with this. There might be a stretch of time, especially with Kristen gone. If she doesn't come back next year, there might be a stretch of time where it's the Missy show a lot. Like it already has been.
Yeah.
This tournament, she won, and it was like, well, yeah, clap, 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 clap. You're playing fantastic. You're the best player by far. We can't underestimate you anymore. It's Missy time. And next year, she gets a little bit of rest, maybe even wins the Tour Championship. She goes back to Florida. I got a feeling next year might be dangerous for people. And, maybe it sounds generic to say that, but we might see her best season next year.
Yeah, Holland's going to be calling her up, asking for advice, and Missy's going to go, "I can't help you out.
I can't help you anymore, bud.
I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what your answer is, Holland."
Well, I hope Holland goes back to the drawing board and starts to rip too. I hope she starts to train.
Yeah.
I mean, she does constantly. So it's going to be a great next season for FPO. But MPO, here we go.
Yeah.
This is the long running tournament.
Mm-hmm.
These are the tee pads, the holes that the greats of our sport over the past few decades have played.
Yeah.
Minus a few new Frankenstein type holes. But Nate, the facility, before we dive into USDGC, like the golf itself.
Yeah.
I know that you've been saying that you think it's time to move to a new place. And I totally understand what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I will say, I think we have about 5 years left, maybe even 10 at this facility. I'll go 5 for now. And I think if they make 1 or 2 tweaks to the way the facility flows, it could be the best show on earth.
Yeah.
We don't start on 1. We don't end on 18 anymore. We break the tradition. And I know that's going to ruffle a lot of feathers, maybe even with the decision makers at this tournament. But I've been talking to some people who are connected to the event, and they're all starting to talk. If we started on the beach hole 6, and we ended on the iconic hole 5, which I think would be a phenomenal finishing hole, bleachers everywhere, everybody could pack in. You could get all 4,000 spectators out there watching on the final hole.
You could.
Watching that gorgeous shot across the water.
Yeah.
You know what this does? 9-hole loop. back to Tournament Central with all the vendors, the concerts, the restaurants.
Yep.
And then you do 9-hole loop again, you're right back there. Everybody's happy. The vendors make more
Yeah.
money. The people have a chance to take a rest, go get some lunch, watch on the board, and then you can choose whether or not to go back again. I mean, you're right there. 5, 6, 7, 8's right there. 14's just over there. The tee shot of 15 is right there by Tournament Central,
Yeah.
or whatever they're calling it, Championship Village or
Yeah.
something
Vendor
like that.
Village. Oh, Championship
Yeah,
Village.
something
Yeah.
like that. It is right in the middle of everything. And right now, hole 1 and 18 are just so far away from that. It's like a 10-minute walk
Yeah.
to get there because you have to walk all the way around Lake Winthrop.
And you have to walk behind baskets and tee pads. You have to cross. You have to walk behind 16. You have to make sure no one's throwing on 7, 8, and then you have to go all.
Mhm.
Did you come up with that yourself?
No, it was through chatter. It was through the chatter.
Because that's clever.
But I also
it's such a simple thing, and it will have a significant impact on the flow.
I started having these conversations because of the fact that I was like, okay, FPO's over. I'm going to go down and say hi to the Discraft guys, and I have to walk all the way to the other side of the property
Yeah.
to do that. But then when I'm there, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's 8, there's 16, there's 15's tee pad, there's 14, there's 5.
Yeah.
So then I start talking to people, and they're like, oh yeah, we're already thinking about it. And the big problem is just getting over the feeling of pride and tradition.
Yeah, and that's a part of why it would be difficult to move away from here at all, right? We talked about this in the live podcast, and when you have a tournament that's been going on for 27 years and it's been a major for that amount of time, and it has all this history, moving to a new venue, we have to recognize that we would be bailing on all of that history, which is like the best part of this tournament, right? But the reason I feel that it would be good to move this venue is because even with restarting history, I feel that the setting has kind of lost its sparkle for me. The aesthetics of the course take away from the event as a whole. And I think while we are catering to the old school players who witnessed, that the era of Barry and Kenny playing here, and we have all this history, I feel like if we want to step into that new paradigm of, selling this sport to the great, companies out there, if we want Rolex to put their logos on our baskets, we can't have a chain link fence covered by a banner that's covering a baseball field hole. We can't have cars driving by while players are putting. I think that those aspects, while they might be minor to some, I think if we're really trying to take that next leap and for people to look at this sport and say, oh, this is your US title and this is where it's held. If we move it to a masterful course that is just wooded with the spectators, the dream courses, we have a few of them around the world. If we can find that property somewhere in the southeastern United States here, and this same team could move in there, I think it would be better in the long term. And it would hurt to pull the Band-Aid off. It would hurt to have to lose hole 17 and all the historical moments there. But I don't say it because I don't love this place, and I don't think that what everyone's done to build it needs to be given their flowers. I say it because of the long-term vision. I feel that we need to move away from it.
Do you have any courses in mind right now? Or does it not exist yet?
It's more of the feeling. Yeah, it's more of the feeling. It's like the Crocalls, the Maple Hills, the GMCs, the Glendeveres, like properties that are grand and spectator friendly, accessible. You've opened up a conversation of the Whitewater Center right there on the Catawba River. A property they're rolling up. They've got breweries. They've got access to food. Like the fan experience outside of the golf is like legit and simple and fun and family friendly. And we can have music festivals and this is obviously the path that we're headed toward, and they crush it here. They crush it here. I went to all the music. It was last night's music was epic. What was the dinosaur band? I can't think of the name of the dinosaur band. They were two-piece. They were awesome. It was it Cloud Dinosaur, and they were fantastic. And James Conrad, Paul Oman is dancing with amongst the spectators, and we're all just like we're all one, we're all this little community. What JP and the team here have done is amazing, and they're cultivating that experience. But I think we can just shift it to somewhere that's better suited for the long-term vision.
So here's how I will agree with you. I was saying this at the beginning of the show, and we'll jump into the action in just a second. But if we're talking about tradition, I want this, whatever this facility is, I don't think it exists yet. I really don't.
Yeah.
Unless we just snap our fingers and Maple Hill transports down and all the history at Maple Hill disappears, and then we can just start USDGC there. But we don't have that. You mentioned Glendevere. It doesn't. I love Glendevere. I think it's one of the best golf courses we've ever played. It is not the same, and I want to see what happens when we shift around, make the spectator player experience that much better than before, ride that out for a bit. The next facility would need to keep the same spirit as what the original organizers had, selling this dream to this new place, this college. We would need to sell the sport of disc golf, like you were saying, to a massive, grand facility that would be unlike anything that we've ever seen before. A partnership that disc golf maybe hasn't seen yet. And then maybe once the blueprint is there, the courses are good, and we realize that we can transfer the magic over, great, let's do it.
Yeah.
But I get it. I totally understand.
Yeah.
But I think what they're doing is phenomenal. I think it goes right alongside of what the European Disc Golf Festival is doing.
Yeah.
Not what UC is doing. And you know what? UC was there, time of his life, smiling ear to ear. He was walking with me down some of the fairways, down the final stretch. And you can tell that he appreciates this a lot as well, because he's come here and he's walked these fairways.
He's played here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cautious. I'm very cautious to want to move this.
It is. It's a sensitive topic.
Yes. But I understand.
Yeah.
But today, we got another first-time major champion. Anthony Barela wins his first major. I think he said this was his 9th USDGC.
Wow.
He's just continuing to ascend, Nate, and I'm so excited to watch him evolve. And, you were talking to me, you're like, when he does interviews, he's just so straightforward when he talks. He's not like the deepest storyteller, but I think he's such a gracious champion. It's so enjoyable to listen to him, because you think of him as this young kid.
Yeah.
He has such deep roots in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine a better winner of this tournament. He looked me in the eye maybe after round 2 when I was interviewing him and just said, I love this tournament so much. I love being here.
Yeah.
And it's refreshing to hear that, Nate.
Absolutely, Brian. And yeah, he is a gracious champion. I've had the honor to interview him for several of his. I spoke to him at his first when he opened the door, and then he rattled off 4 in a row. And AB has been one of the most entertaining players over the last 10 years. Like he hands down, like redefined power disc golf. He was the most exciting roller coaster of a player.
It's like Simon and Paul
for so long.
Together.
I remember the 2019 World Championships, Peoria. Anthony Barela was on the lead card, and he was in 45th place because he played so well to get onto the lead card, and then he was bombing because he couldn't keep it in bounds. And that was his MO for years and years. And it never seemed like he was going to be able to break out of it. And then all of a sudden,
he had a play style shift.
Got the touch. Oh. He starts throwing these putter shots. Like instead of just throwing a zone chip forehand, he's like turning a putter over like gently and matching the slopes. And we've seen him develop into a complete golfer, and the golfer who is able to control his emotions, and he harnesses the power. Mind you, he won the United States Disc Golf Championship distance competition on Monday before the tournament. And then he's able to rein it in. If you are watching on Jomez, you're watching him throw in hole 10, and Brian was losing his mind over this shot. Talk about what you saw here on the 10th.
Well, I saw a cold-blooded killer. I saw a competitor here that was ready to compete against somebody he has deep respect for. Paul does the worst thing you could possibly do at the middle point of the round. It was the big mistake that I think deflated him. He goes OB laying up. He was trying to lay up the whole tournament, not going for the eagle. AB then steps up after Paul is clearly upset, going OB, trying to be safe, and then AB just leans into this little flex shot. It looks like the most flawless shot that I had seen him throw all weekend. And for me, to watch him do that, high-level shot, high wind, in his face, release the blob, whatever that may be. Two guys were out there with release the blob signs, and whatever it is, I hope it's released. Anyway, AB says, "Nuh-uh. I'm going to take 2 shots on you right now, and I'm going to do it with swagger. I'm going to be in full control." And then he was just off to the races at this point.
I wonder, Brian, because AB's a professional and he would never do this to his competitor, but I wonder if AB laughed in his head when Paul threw it OB.
He's like, all right, you're going to give that to me?
He probably laughed and was like, are you serious, dude? This is what you're going to do?
You can't do that to me.
You're going to lay up out of bounds and let me throw a half speed Venom to C1 on the 10th? AB's nerves were still there this final round. And I have other players to talk about, but while we're here during this final round,
Bobby Cox, absolute king.
How does he get around
of the catch? Because he is an elite catch cam guy. He might be the best catch cam we've ever had.
Oh, he's definitely the best.
He caught the Adam Hammis catch at the end of the year at the Christmas special that we will talk about in way more detail later. We're going to talk about these catch cams, and Bobby Cox is the dodge master.
He's incredible. And Anthony had several moments in this final round to close it out. He had a 50-footer on 13 that he missed wide. He had a 18-footer on 14 that he missed left. And mind you, this was his second miss. He missed a 15-footer on 8 up the hill and 16, 18-footer on 14. The putt on 14 was to go up 4 with 4 to go. And then Anthony pipes it on 15. Paul misses the Mando on 15, gets up and down. AB has a 35-footer to go up 4 with 3 to go. He misses that, Brian. And the door has just remained open. You could tell that Anthony was still feeling the moment, still feeling the pressure. And then he steps up on 16 and throws the Luna into probably a 20-mile-per-hour tailwind and puts it in the bullseye. And right after that, Brian was helping me put on my poncho, actually, because it's starting to rain.
Because I'm so sweet.
And he was buttoning up my poncho. And then Brian starts walking up the hill. Brian starts walking away. And I look back and I see vintage Paul Macbeth jump putt from 120 feet. And it looked like that putt from Maple Hill. It looked like that putt from Australia. It was vintage Paul Macbeth. It was a career moment. Look, he puts his hand up in the air about halfway at the top of the flight. Paul is like, it's going, it's gone. The Babe Ruth treatment from 120 feet. I've never had more chills. Look, he does the double fist pump. Everyone's losing their minds because if he doesn't make that, AB taps in and is up 4 with 2 to go. It doesn't matter. It's over. Instead, Paul Macbeth makes it. Paul Ulibarri was standing right next to me, and he's pretty much in tears already because his protege,
Mm-hmm.
is about to become a major champion. Paul Ulibarri met Anthony Barela when he was 8 years
Mm-hmm.
old and has been mentoring him ever since. Anthony had a pretty serious off the course situation, and he's been in the dumps mentally since the last round at Worlds. He's been going through it. And Paul Ulibarri has been the guy that's been there for him. And when I asked Anthony Barela in the interview about his mentors, he talked about Ricky, he talked about Paul Macbeth. He was getting choked up because he was like, Paul has been there and he's been there since the beginning. And Anthony doesn't get that emotional. And he was legitimately about to crack on the green. And I could feel it. We could all feel it. And then we're just talking about his dad. It's just, it's so special that the reality of having Ricky Wysocki, Paul Macbeth, and Paul Ulibarri as your disc golf mentors, is that even real? That's crazy.
Yeah.
You got some of the greatest athletes ever. That's like the big three, like teaching you how to play tennis.
Well,
What is that?
It's a perfect storm is what it is, because back then Scottsdale was the hot spot. I remember it was like Devin Owens and like Dave Felberg and someone else. They would rent these apartments in the off season right on Vista del Camino, and that's where they would train because the Memorial was the first tournament of the year, so they wanted to be ready. So they played those courses all the time.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where AB was. He played Emerald Lake. That's his home course. You ever played that course?
Yeah.
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 Little Emerald Lake was where AB would just smash discs around when he was a little kid, right next to Vista del Camino, Fountain Hills. And all those guys kind of gravitated there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, of course he ended up being friends with them because he was this little kid that just loved disc golf. His dad's a player. I mean, it's a family thing for him.
Yeah.
And this is when we talk about juniors players, like I was just saying, this is a juniors player who had the correct support. They just let him be. They let him go off to college. They let him join a frat. They let him experience life, you know. And disc golf is always going to be there. And he let his true passion for disc golf bring him back into the game after his schooling was done. And now he's just a very well-rounded individual. He's one of my favorite interviews. He's, again, got the full package of pro athlete. He understands what he's supposed to do to be successful in a sport that's not a booming industry compared to others. He understands that his story has to be told, and he has to make people care about why they should buy his disc, buy his jerseys, follow him. And I couldn't be happier for the guy. But Nate, there's so many other things that happened in MPO. Let's kind of work backwards from there.
Yeah. Well, I think the wind is also another just major thing because it was similar to FPO. FPO had a little bit more of the intense wind. And the situation was, if you teed off in the morning on round one, early in the morning, you were in a bad way. You were playing in 15 to 25 mile per hour wind shortly after FPO. If you teed off 1 o'clock or later, day one, it got calm toward the later part of the day. And that happens on day 2 and day 3. And it's just the nature of tee times in our game.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens, but it was tough because if you didn't shoot well round one, because maybe you played in the morning or you didn't play well in the easier conditions, it was hard to catch up because if you shot even or a couple down, you're playing in it's
trash.
It's twice as hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was legitimately twice as hard. And so there was that element to it. And we had a unique lead card round two. Who do we have? We had Evan Scott. We had a couple. Was Luke Taylor on it?
No, the lead card was Big Beth, Corey Ellis, Marweed, and Evan Scott.
That's
7 down, 8 down, 8 down, 10 down.
Yeah, we had Marweed. We picked him on our pod.
You did, yeah.
It's collective.
Cole let me down, but you know what? Cole had a rough week, man.
And that's another player to talk about, right? Is we were sitting down on the couch and looking at the leaderboard after round one. And it's like, who's the biggest disappointment? And it was clearly Cole Redolin at 5 over after round one. And he posted on Instagram. He's like, look, it bit me again, got me again. And we were both shocked that someone who has displayed as much control as he has over the past month and a half of golf couldn't handle it. But it was hard. This course was so freaking hard in the wind, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like the new hole 9, it was ripping right to left day one. It was almost impossible to park the hole.
And he was a real tree, Nate. They were throwing around a real tree.
It was a real tree.
Tough.
Yeah, and it was a grind out there, and Marweed played well. Evan Scott couldn't hang in the wind. Corey Ellis drifted away, but Paul Macbeth continued. Paul Macbeth shoots the 10 down day one. His putter really didn't touch the ground. He had a little weird spit out on 18, but his putter was on fire. It was like vintage Paul Macbeth, vintage stuff from Paul. And then day two was Ricky's 13 under par.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky was 11 through 11 with a par. Talk about how you felt like that run kind of changed the dynamic of the tournament.
Oh my gosh, not even from like a player to player perspective. The fans were like looking at their phone like, oh my God, my buddy's about to bowl a 300 game. They were all fired up like, oh, he got this one. He got this one. Oh, but he eagled this one. He parred this one, but he eagled this one. He's back on track. Every fan was glued to their phone, and people were starting to migrate down and follow. I think there's a lot of people at this facility that go, okay, well, Tournament Central's down there, but hole one is up here. So what do I do? Do I wait and then catch up with them later?
Yeah.
Everyone started flocking to this card.
I left the lead card again.
and again, like on his card that day, Ricky did it again. His energy, like I was talking about, affects how everyone on his card plays and moves and breathes. It's like everybody kind of just gets sucked into his universe, and you're just witnessing him go on this tear. It's like this aura that an athlete has.
Yep.
I think James Conrad has been able to do almost the opposite effect in certain things, and we could talk about that in a different show.
Yeah.
But Ricky does it to his card in this intense sense of urgency type way.
Yep.
The camera people feel it. Like I was
Yep.
talking to AJ Risley about it, and he's like, Ricky just like makes everybody play faster. It's like they're kind of moving fast and they're talking fast and playing fast, and then they catch up to the card ahead of them, and they're kind of just like antsy. And the camera people are like, oh my gosh, this card is like anxious right now. But really, Ricky is shredding the course, and everybody's just having to keep up with him.
He's like towing them.
Yeah, no, it's just he's just that type of personality.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that intensity. I love his enthusiasm. I love his grit. It's he is one of my all-time favorite athletes. I've said it so many times, but it's the inability to quit. Like he just doesn't have it in him. And he's just such a fierce competitor. I peeled off to watch him play. He laid up on 12 intentionally. Pars 13, parks 14, gets 15, and he throws it in the hazard on 16. Mind you, he hasn't bogeyed yet. And at this point, as you just said, everybody has come to watch this great round unfold, and they can't believe what they've seen. He's throw it in the hazard. And he's behind those trees, Brian. Those stupid trees that they put next to the baskets. They got to make the guard. This putt right here on 15, that's pretty sick. He wasn't pumped up, but it's nasty. This putt on 16, he reaches out. He is so hyped. The crowd lost it right there. Probably 1,500 people right behind where Ricky was putting from. And then he shanks 17, Brian. Completely shanks it. Way right. It's barely in bounds. There's not a chance in the world that he's going to run it.
I heard this up on 18. I knew exactly what it was.
This is 58 feet into a ripping right to left wind. And check this out. He hits it on the left side of the chains. it pulls it in. He had the nose down. It catches enough of the chains. Those moments right there, the putt on 16, the putt on 17, it's the type of moment where I feel like it hurts so good because you can't believe that you've just witnessed it happen. Like, no way did he just sink those 2 putts to maintain this great round. He goes on to shoot 1,100 with the bogey.
On 18.
With the freaking bogey. He was so jacked after the putt on 17 from the crowd's reaction and just in general his play. He was 14 down going into 18. He was so juiced up that he overpowered his next forehand and he had to re-tee. So he re-tees, he gets a bogey, he shoots 1,100 rated round. It's the highest rated round in this USDGC history, beating one of Macbeth's 1090 rounds. 1094, I believe, was the previous highest.
So
1102. It's one of the great rounds of Ricky Wysocki's career, and we're talking about a guy who dominates 1100. I think he has more 1100 rated rounds than anybody.
Well, and here's what's crazy. He birdies 18. Each stroke was 6 rating points. So if he goes to 15, that's 12 extra rating points. He shoots like an 11-14. I don't think we've seen something like that in a long time.
Yeah, I think if Aderhold's round at Worlds was like rated properly, which is just never going to be, it's right on par with a 15 at Winthrop. But you throw in the wind here, and they're equals. And what Paul and Rick are giving to us and to the world of disc golf it's incredible. It's timeless. I mean, these are the guys who started this era.
It's like if Federer and Nadal like left for a couple years, and we're like, nope,
no, we're
coming back.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we're back.
guys, we're gonna just be right back in the mix. You guys got to chase us.
People are they are so fulfilled with the Ricky Paul storyline. They're so excited
because
about
they get it. Like they get it more than anybody. Because back then, if you didn't entertain the people, you had nothing. They had nothing when they were starting to tour. That generation of players, like when Yuli started going at it, like Felberg and Avery and all these guys, they had to fight for anyone to come watch them. Yes, they had the galleries at some of the biggest tournaments, but they had to be promoters. They had to be prophets of this sport, and they had to represent themselves with the utmost professionalism. They had to affect people.
Yeah.
And Paul and Ricky get that. And I know Paul had told me a long time ago that it was a very early goal for his for him to transform professional disc golf and be a part of that.
Wow.
And 18 years later, for him to still be here playing like this, making the people feel this. Remember this feeling, folks. Remember this right now. We might not get another guy like this because of the generation that they're from and what they had to do to get to where they are now.
No, we couldn't ever have another guy like this because they've whoever comes later, they're going to be standing on the ground that these guys built. You know, they've really changed the landscape of disc golf, and they've inspired so many people. Both Ricky and Paul have been an inspiration to me. They got me into the game. I signed up for the PDGA the day that they were in the playoff because it was so captivating. I was watching Disc Golf Planet with my dad. It was so captivating. I signed up for the PDGA that day. It altered my entire life. This is what I do for a living now. And Paul and Ricky are still at it. That was 11 years ago, and they are still the guys to beat. And Paul this week, he was vintage Macbeth. His putting this week, Brian, it felt like he was going to be inevitable this week. The way that he was making from mid C2, we were behind. Brian and I were behind Paul Macbeth on hole 6 today.
I was just about to say
the
this.
beach hole.
Vintage Macbeth.
I mean, I'll let you say it. I'll let you say it, Brian.
So I don't know. I have to go back to some of his early years to see if he still did this, but nowadays Paul almost never throws with a like pushed into the brace straight leg brace when he throws the backhand. Everything is absorbed into that front foot. He bends the knee. It's all in the hand. He's so dialed into his release point. He knows his equipment so well that it's just like, oh, I want to throw a little nose up floater, flip. Oh, I want to throw nose down, right here. Just like change the release a little bit. Hole 6, tricky wind, head cross to the left, pretty stiff. People are struggling on it. Paul essentially throws an air bounce. And I'm holding a catch frisbee in my hand. I get a little weak at the knees watching this shot because that's the beauty of our sport.
Yeah.
AB just hammers a stable. Is it a stable mid-range or a zone? Ricky throws a zone. Paul goes flip, bends into the front knee, pops the nose up, throws underneath the wind, bing, 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 right by the bucket. It's just gorgeous. Gets the birdie.
Yeah, it was, man. I loved your authentic reaction to that one, and it's such a treat to watch him play up close like that. He's one of the more professional athletes we have. He's always carried that torch, but more than that, he knows what he's giving us. Like he wants the title, but also I feel like he's just like relishing in the moment. Like, yeah, I'm like Paul Macbeth and I'm battling Ricky and Anthony Barela for this title. And right after that air bounce shot, he throws it in the turf on 7.
That was weird.
That was one of the moments where it kind of, yeah. What do you think happened on that shot?
I don't know.
What is that when it's that big of a misfire? He throws it into the dirt.
Well, the weird thing is the wind. So if the wind was head cross to the left on 6, the wind on 7 was just a straight cross.
Yeah, it was tail right to left.
So
most of the time. Yeah.
I have no idea because I don't know if he was trying to throw flat and like jam it over and let the crosswind kind of push it straight.
Yeah.
I don't recall the disc that he threw. But he got let down by a couple discs out there. That yellow zone or the orange zone, the jawbreaker zone that
That's
he was
what he
throwing
threw on 10 OB.
On 10 OB, 17 OB. And I'm just going to go side tangent. I personally hate my overstable approach disc to be in base plastic. I need them to do one job, and I need that one job to never let me down.
Is that what he's throwing, a base plastic?
It's a jawbreaker.
Yeah,
so it's
I
a
don't
little bit
understand
above
that.
base plastic. Well, a lot of people love the jawbreaker zone. That's like a cult classic in discraft.
Yeah.
But they beat
feel
in.
like you need something that glides less than that. That has a little glide on it.
No,
Okay.
not necessarily.
Okay.
No, the new zone is a new zone, but the moment you hit a few trees with it, it straightens out. So to me, there's always that lack of trust in the back of my head.
Yeah.
That one shot is just going to break my trust, and I'm never going to throw the thing again.
Yeah.
But it looked like a pretty fresh one, so it's a great disc to throw, but it just didn't do it for him.
And it's interesting because he made the 120 footer, and then 17, he's right there still. And I go back to 2021 Worlds when he's in the playoff with James Conrad. He had been struggling with that shot on that island hole, and they're different. The island hole 16 at the fort and hole 17, they're different. But I if there's a lineup of people that I want to hit an island, for some reason Paul Macbeth with a forehand isn't my guy. Like his forehand is incredible, especially like his like distance flip up shaping forehands are insane. But it's let him down. It let him down in the playoff at Worlds in 2021. Well, he
threw a Raptor.
He didn't trust the zone is the thing, and he threw the Raptor in 2021. And we all know that if you throw that 9-speed, what's going to happen? It's going to pick up, skip out the back. And that's exactly what happened. We know that you have to hammer the zone and let it fall. And to me today, the deep shot represents a nervy shot because you're worried about the speed you're going to put on it. You're worried about the glide. You're worried about the stability, and you hit it flat and you kind of flatten it out into the wind a little bit. And that's what I saw from him. I wanted to see that shot up in the air, and he threw it kind of flat and punching. It needs to be up in the air and then stalling down onto the basket. To me, that makes the green so much bigger. Obviously, he knows what he's doing, but he made a fatal mistake today on the 17th to fall out of it. But what he gave us this week was another amazing performance, and he was the guy to beat. And yeah, one other thing I wanted to talk about with Rick was the third round when he was like massively over par, 4 over through the front 9 or something like that. What the crowd was doing to get Ricky back into it, I don't think I've really seen anything like that. They were willing him back into the moment.
I love it.
It was incredible. He stepped up to 7. I think he had just taken the triple bogey on 6, stepped up to 7, and before he teed, there was a moment where they all rallied, and it worked. He got back on it, got back into the game, and he had an opportunity in the final day to make a push, and it was special.
It was funny. I caught up with a fan today, actually, and he asked me a question about Rick. He's like, yeah, I kind of was, my heart kind of got broken by Rick the other day because I asked him to take a picture with me, and he's like, no, I can't. I got to ice my wrist. and the kid's like, he just blew me off right to my face. And I looked at the kid and I was like, I'm just letting you know, there's one thing on Ricky's mind right now, and you are not the thing that's on his mind. So many other players would probably have taken that picture. He's one of the few guys that when he's locked in, you're not going to get anything from him. And that's okay.
When did the kid ask?
I asked him. It wasn't at the autograph booth.
Gotcha.
Ricky, and again, at USDGC, it is so hard to get some peace and quiet. You are always we're getting stopped all the time, which is amazing, and we're grateful for it every day.
So sweet.
I can't even imagine what it's like to be Rick or Paul or AB.
Oh, yeah.
There's like
awkward fame.
1,000 AB jerseys out there today. Yeah. But yeah, Ricky is he was clearly focused on one thing, and he wanted to get this tournament off his chest, and he couldn't do it. He's gonna have to wait till next year.
Another year, man. It's another year. You could see how devastated he was. He was over 4 on hole 6, and his shoulders were just slouched. He just is like in disbelief. We watched him lip out of the basket again, like he hits it low on the pole. Baskets did not perform well this week.
Here's my thought, and I'd love to have people email us at abnbpod@gmail.com. If you have a piece of metal, chain link, up against a solid piece of metal pole, because essentially what these baskets had, right? They had like an inner chain assembly that was just straight up against the pole. What is that even supposed to do?
They're trying to protect the pole, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. A disc being caught by a chain assembly is an engineering problem, right? It's physics. It's an engineering problem, and that is not addressing the problem. That is just trying to put a Band-Aid on an injury, right? Like it's just trying to like, oh yeah, maybe these chains will do it, right? Like there are some baskets out there that have addressed the problem. The chains need to have some give, and they need to trap the putter. They don't need to be a wall. It's like Prodigy T1. They don't need to be a wall. It's unfortunate that they wanted to unveil this new basket, and
did they perform that bad?
I actually don't mean to just harp on Innova. Obviously they ran this tournament. I love Innova, nothing against them personally. I felt like these baskets actually did a major disservice. I feel like the Disc Catcher 28 is one of the like OG
I agree.
great baskets.
Yeah.
And I think that this I think it performed like 25% worse than a Disc Catcher
Wow.
28.
Wow.
I think sometimes it can just feel that way because you see
A few bad
anecdotally, yeah,
instances.
you just
Yeah.
have that, like, it was my personal experience, but I really felt like it did the tournament a disservice.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is unfortunate. That's obviously not their intention. They wanna make a better basket, but I think they made a worse basket with the chain mechanism that they added around the
Yeah.
pole. I was seeing stuff pick up and cut through because the outer chains are behaving different because of the inner chains that are there,
Huh.
and the pole wasn't nice to people. It just I would love to hear the players' feedback on it, but from what I saw on the ground in the top few cards, it was tough.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't see enough. I saw some spit outs, but I see spit outs almost every
Every
weekend.
basket.
But it's interesting because I believe I saw MVP come out with a similar attachment to one of their baskets.
Right.
So I'm
And I don't think
curious.
that's the answer either.
Well, we should talk to one of these companies and
Yeah.
have one of these guys come on and explain it because it's a
We sh
new concept
we
in
should
disc
get
golf.
Simon Feasy on here to talk about the years of engineering that he did to build the Helix, which is like a catching machine.
Well, I think we have a little topic idea, something we'll have to riff on. Nate, that's in the books. We're gonna talk baskets in detail soon.
Yeah.
Ganon gave a tier list, a full tier list on
Well, we
baskets.
haven't even said Ganon's name.
We'll get, you know
How
what?
is that even
I'll say his name one time
possible?
because he just kind of had an average tournament.
That is crazy. You
You
have to
know,
admit it's crazy that we're probably 50 minutes into this. Haven't even thought of Ganon.
we're
Which
an
is
hour and a half into this, and Ganon got 6th place
did he?
and had an
Wow.
average tournament. Finished off with a
What did
1077.
he shoot round 1?
1056 rated tournament. Round 1, he had a pretty I think it was 4 down, 3 down. Yeah, he had a 3 down,
That
double bogey on
hurts.
11, bogey on 18, bogey on 9, bogey on 6. Those are bogeyable holes.
Yep. It
Um,
all happened. It happened so quick. I said that in the live podcast when we were doing the whole fly through of hole 11. I'm like, it's so easy to throw it in the hazard once, and then it's really easy to throw it in the hazard again, and then you have a tough putt. It's double bogey, and happened a lot to a lot of people, really quick. Paul Macbeth did that. Paul Macbeth double bogey just like that. That was that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, he threw it in the hazard, and then he threw it up the hill in the hazard, and it's a 50-footer down the hill into a headwind. So it was a hard course. It was one of the harder with the layout and the wind was one of the harder days of disc golf that you could have all year. It's just even the best player in the world, a 3 down, it's not even that bad. What's 1044 rated? So only like a few points, few strokes below his rating. And it's just not what you needed. Paul was 10 through 1. So he was 7 back after 1.
Well, Nate, you were saying it when we were getting in the car coming back home. You said after all these big tournaments, there's always the big emotional come down.
Yeah.
And I got the tour championship. You got the tour championship. We're splitting the MPO and the FPO. We're staying in the same Airbnb. That never happens.
That's going to be great.
Can't wait for that. We're going to do a show. We actually have an announcement to make on one of our shows.
Cool.
Kind of some bittersweet news that will drop on you guys.
Yeah.
However, Nate, do you have any final words for the people after this wonderful tournament?
I do. I wanted to share a little bit about my personal experience because I come out to these tournaments. I had the month of September off, and I come out to these tournaments, and there were hundreds of people, probably between the neighborhood of 100 to 200 people that came up to me and said some nice things. And there were a couple interactions where there was one family that came up to me, a dad and his wife and a young kid, and the wife, I didn't get her name, but she was looking me in the eye, and she was so sincere, saying how much she loves the podcast, All Birdies No Bogeys, and how much she likes our insight. but she was like, we look forward to seeing you guys, to seeing you as much as we do the players. And it's crazy to hear those things. And it really, I really feel it in my heart, and it means a lot. It means a lot because sometimes when you're out there, you don't know what kind of impact you're having,
How
and
you're
and
doing
you're
it
like,
all.
is this job even worth it? Like, what are we doing out here? And then to hear that you are making an impact and that they look forward to hearing these broadcasts, and disc golf entertains them, it just it means a lot. And it's this interesting balance because it's not why I do it. I'm not like trying to seek out that recognition for this. I love doing it, but I do want to recognize that when people come up to you, to us, to me, and they open up, they open up and
Mhm.
they share like that, it does mean a lot. So if you are listening and you're one of those people, I try to introduce myself, and I just want you to know that I really feel it goes a long way here, and it's part of the fuel that keeps me going to the next tournament. And I'm like, I feels like I'm on the right path.
Mhm.
I love this sport. I love this community. I love the impact and everything that we get to share. And that's always been the best part of it for me, is that sense of community. And this is one of the tournaments where I really feel that. I've been coming here a long time, and I've been working the broadcast a long time. It was one of my first gigs, and the way that I get treated here, it's incredible. And I'm so grateful.
I feel the same way, and I walk the grounds every day and during lunch because I was a little bit less pressed on time than you. I would go mingle at Championship Village. I would go talk to some of the old timers. I talked to Tom Schott for a while.
Cool.
California guy who's
Yeah.
just an absolute legend. He has a book out. He gave me the book. Um, I actually wish I had the book in my hand so I could shout it out. But Tom Schott is the guy, another one of those guys from the early days of Frisbee that helped to promote the
One
sport
of
and
the
make it what it is.
pioneers.
Yeah, he's a super pioneer, and I talked to him for a long time. He was one of the first guys to make a disc outside of Whammo because he wanted Whammo to have some competition, so they made some discs. He showed me an overmold catch frisbee that they made way back in the day that had an extra thing on the outside with extra weight, in the rim. And I love people like that, and everybody seems to flock here. I was getting told all these old stories from freestyle tournaments back in the 80s during kind of the golden era, like when Crazy John and Chipper Bro and those guys were sponsored by Bud Light and they were touring the world doing
That's
freestyle demos, living
crazy.
like rock stars. I was hearing stories from that era. Um,
Who was the cat that was here doing the freestyle
the
showcase?
greatest of all time,
What's his name?
James Wiseman.
Yeah.
Daniel O'Neill is his partner, but and Daniel, again, I'm not going to act like Daniel's not one of the best of the best of the best, but when I watch James Wiseman freestyle, and he's maybe only about 40, he does things that make my head spin in circles. And I think out of ultimate disc golf, any disc sport that I've ever seen, James Wiseman is the most skilled at any single one of them. And I
Wow.
just wish that people would just come watch him. He's too humble. He doesn't like to be the center of attention all the time, but he will jam with people for hours
Wow.
and land these like triple axle catches. He'll like combo a disc until it runs out of spin, and then he'll balance it on his forearm with no spin, and then he'll all of a sudden just keep it going again, roll it off his chest, get spin again, and keep going. And I'm getting in the weeds here, but
No, that's epic.
look him up on YouTube, James Wiseman
Wiseman.
freestyle frisbee, and he does some of these study tapes where he's inside in this place at his house called the Spin Factory. It's like this big room that he does all his practice in, and it's some of the most entertaining stuff you'll ever see. But
Sweet.
anyway,
It's like the artistic form of
it's the
the
purest
flight of
essence of the
frisbee.
disc. Yeah, it's unreal,
Yeah.
absolutely unreal. I got to jam with him and JK, which was just a complete honor.
That's cool that they come here. That the
Yeah,
US, you said they all flock here. It cultivates that
there's a
community.
ton of freestylers here. Joel Rogers, 11-time world
I
champion,
was
my
hanging with Joel
mentor.
all week. It was
Yeah,
so
he's walking around
cool.
so happy to
What a
see where
guy.
disc golf is. He buys all the touring pros like merch and their hats and their disc. He was wearing a Luke Sampson hat today because Luke stays at his house.
That's great, man.
Yeah, man. And I love these guys and how grateful that they are to see the fruits of their labor after all these years. And I kind of have to put myself in the same boat to close things out. I think for a while when I started getting into media more, I cared very, very deeply about what people had to say about my work.
Sure.
And even up until early this year, that was like my habit. Was my mood and my quality of life hinged upon whether I did a good job or bad job. Not in my eyes, but in the eyes of people who leave comments on the internet. And now I realize that I don't care as long as we can be in the Olympics one day, as long as we can play at facilities that previous generations would have never dreamed of.
Yeah.
Because we made our sport look beautiful and we presented it in a beautiful way. We have such a bigger picture goal that all of us are working on. And this is the thing that USDGC always puts me back in, is that this is a fragile ecosystem. You and me, the media, the camera guys, the administration of the Pro Tour, the PDGA, the fans, the players. If we all don't play our part, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
And I think we have a lot of room to grow, and I'm excited for us to keep doing that.
That's great, man.
I'm
That's
inspired.
A great perspective, powerful perspective for sure. It's easy to get caught up in your own story, but
it's survival. It's a survival instinct. It's a fear of not being accepted by the pack.
And then it limits you. It limits you from performing.
Yep.
You're hyper focused on the vocabulary you're using because you're worried about what the dude on Reddit will say. It's a tough pit to kind of fall into. And love that perspective, Brian.
We're done. We're getting in the weeds. We're talking about a lot of emotional stuff to wrap up this show. Me and Perkins need to play a little Elden Ring. We need to sip a couple of seltzer waters, get a little rest, and head off to Virginia for the Tour Championship. Good night.